If your child refuses to eat anything except chicken nuggets and you're starting to think you've failed as a parent, stop right there. There are 7 scientific reasons behind picky eating that have nothing to do with your parenting. And number 5 will completely change how you approach mealtimes starting tonight. Hey there, welcome back to Parenthood Unlocked. If you're new here, this channel is all about giving you science-backed parenting strategies that actually work in real life. Today we're tackling one of the most frustrating challenges parents face: picky eating. And I'm not going to give you the same tired advice about just keep trying. Instead, I'm going to show you what's really happening in your child's brain and body that's causing this behavior. Because here's the truth. In most cases, your child isn't being difficult. They're responding to real biological and psychological factors. So let's unlock these 7 hidden reasons together. Reason number 1, sensory processing sensitivity. Now, before your eyes glaze over that technical term, let me explain what this actually means for your dinner table. Some children experience the world through an amplified sensory system. They don't just taste food, they really taste it. They don't just feel textures, they feel every single bump, slime, and crunch intensely. Research shows that up to 20% of children have this heightened sensitivity. For these kids, a piece of cooked carrot isn't just soft, it's mushy and triggers their gag reflex. That tomato sauce isn't just wet, it's slimy and feels wrong in their mouth. When your child says, "I don't like the texture," they're not making excuses. Their nervous system is genuinely telling them this food is uncomfortable or even distressing. So here's what you can do starting today. First, respect their sensory feedback. If they say something feels weird, believe them. Second, offer foods with predictable, consistent textures. Crispy foods like crackers or raw vegetables are often easier to handle than mushy foods. And third, let them touch, smell, and explore new foods without any pressure to eat them. You're helping them desensitize gradually. Reason number 2 sounds like a superhero power, but trust me, your kid doesn't want it. They might be what's called a supertaster. Supertasters have significantly more taste buds than the average person. We're talking about twice as many fungiform papillae on their tongue. Now, here's why this matters for vegetables. Supertasters experience bitter flavors, exponentially stronger than we do. That broccoli you find mildly bitter, to them, it tastes absolutely horrible, like you've tried to poison them. About 25% of people are supertasters, and it's genetic. If you or your partner hate certain vegetables, your child might have inherited this trait. The good news is, taste buds change as kids grow. Many supertasters become more tolerant of bitter foods as they get older. In the meantime, here's your strategy. 1. Try roasting vegetables instead of steaming them. The caramelization adds sweetness that balances bitterness. 2. Pair bitter foods with something creamy or fatty like cheese, butter, or a yogurt-based dip. Fat actually blocks some bitter taste receptors. And 3. Don't force it. Offer these foods regularly, but without pressure. Their taste buds are literally going to change over the next few years. Reason number 3 is actually your child's brain trying to protect them. It's called food neophobia, which literally means fear of new foods. And evolutionarily speaking, this fear kept our ancestors' children alive. Think about it. Thousands of years ago, when toddlers became mobile and started exploring, being suspicious of unfamiliar foods prevented them from eating poisonous berries or toxic plants. This phase typically peaks between ages 2 and 6. Your child's brain is literally programmed to think, "I've never seen this before. It might be dangerous. I'm not eating it." This is completely normal developmental behavior. It's not defiance. It's not them testing you. It's ancient survival instinct. Here's the research-backed approach. It takes an average of 10 to 15 exposures before a child accepts a new food. Yes, you heard that right. 10 to 15 times. So your job isn't to get them to eat it today. Your job is to keep putting small amounts on their plate without any pressure. Serve the new food alongside familiar favorites. Let them see you eating and enjoying it. Talk about the food neutrally. These are green beans. They're crunchy. No forcing, no bribing, no battles.
Just repeated, pressure-free exposure.
Okay, reason number 4 might sting a little, but stay with me because this is important. The pressure we put on kids to eat often makes picky eating worse. I know your intentions are good. You're worried about nutrition. You want them to grow strong and healthy. But when we pressure kids to eat, we're actually triggering their psychological need for autonomy and control. Study after study shows that pressuring children to eat increases picky eating, decreases their ability to self-regulate hunger, and creates negative associations with both specific foods and meal times in general. Every just 3 more bites, every you have to eat your vegetables to get dessert, every meal that ends in tears is teaching them to ignore their own hunger and fullness signals. And I know this is hard to hear if you've been doing these things because you're doing them out of love.
But here's what works better. It's called the division of responsibility, developed by feeding expert Ellen Satter. You decide what foods are served, when meals happen, and where you eat. That's your job. Your child decides whether to eat and how much. That's their job. Practically, this means you offer balanced meals with at least 1 or 2 foods they usually accept. Then you step back. You eat your own food, you make pleasant conversation, and you trust that they'll eat when they're hungry. This is terrifying at first, I know, but kids are born knowing how to regulate their eating. When we stop overriding that instinct, they reconnect with it. All right, reason number 5 is the one I wish every parent understood earlier. Early food experiences create lasting associations, and sometimes one negative experience is all it takes. Your child's brain is constantly making connections. If they ate strawberries and then got a stomach bug that same night, even though the strawberries had nothing to do with it, their brain created an association. Strawberries equal feeling sick. This is called taste aversion, and it's incredibly powerful. But it also works with the overall mealtime environment. If early eating experiences were stressful, rushed, or involved conflict, children can develop anxiety around meals themselves, not just specific foods. There's another factor here too. Research shows that babies introduced to a wide variety of flavors and textures between 6 and 12 months tend to be more adventurous eaters. If solid foods were introduced late, or if there was very limited variety in those first 2 years, kids can develop a narrower acceptance window. So what do you do if you're past that window or if negative associations already exist? First, focus on making current mealtimes as positive and stress-free as possible. No battles, just pleasant family time. Second, if a specific food has a bad association, take a complete break from it for several months. When you reintroduce it, prepare it differently or present it in a new way so their brain sees it as something new. And third, involve them in food preparation when possible. Cooking together creates new positive associations with foods. Reason number 6 is something we need to talk about more. There might be an underlying medical issue that no one has checked for. If eating is uncomfortable or painful, kids will avoid food. It's that simple. And there are several medical conditions that can make eating unpleasant. Acid reflux can cause pain when swallowing. Food allergies or sensitivities can cause stomach discomfort. Chronic constipation, which affects a surprising number of kids, makes them feel full and uncomfortable all the time. Enlarged tonsils or adenoids can make swallowing difficult, and even oral motor issues can make chewing and managing food in the mouth challenging. There's also nutritional deficiencies to consider. Low zinc or iron levels can actually reduce appetite and change how food tastes. It's a cycle because picky eating can cause deficiencies, which then make the picky eating worse. Here's what I want you to do, if you haven't already. Schedule a thorough checkup with your pediatrician. Don't just mention it in passing. Make it the focus of the appointment. Ask specifically about reflux, constipation, and food sensitivities. Request blood work to check iron, zinc, and vitamin levels. If your child's picky eating is severe, if they're eating fewer than 20 foods, if they're losing weight, or if mealtimes involve gagging or vomiting, please get a referral to a feeding therapist or gastroenterologist. Sometimes what looks like behavioral pickiness is actually a medical problem that needs treatment. And finally, reason number 7, The modern food environment has hijacked our children's taste preferences. And this isn't about judging anyone's food choices. It's about understanding how food science works. Foods that are designed in laboratories are engineered to be hyper-palatable. They're perfectly salty, perfectly sweet, perfectly crunchy in ways that natural, whole foods can never compete with. When kids regularly eat these foods, their palates recalibrate to expect that level of intense flavor. Then real food starts tasting bland in comparison. These ultra-processed foods also trigger much stronger dopamine responses in the brain. It's the same reward pathway involved in addiction. Once the brain starts expecting that dopamine hit from food, regular foods become less appealing. And I want to be clear, I'm not saying processed foods are evil or that you're a bad parent if your kid eats chicken nuggets. But understanding this mechanism helps us make strategic choices. Here's a gradual approach that works. Don't make dramatic changes overnight because that creates battles. Instead, slowly reduce the frequency of ultra-processed foods at home. Just don't buy them as often. At the same time, increase exposure to whole foods prepared in delicious ways. Use herbs, spices, healthy fats, and flavor to make real food genuinely tasty. Roast vegetables with olive oil and garlic. Add cinnamon to oatmeal. Make fruit smoothies. It takes time, usually a few months, but taste preferences absolutely can shift. You're essentially recalibrating their palate. The key is patience and consistency. So there you have it, 7 real science-backed reasons why your child might be a picky eater. And now you know it's not about defiance or your parenting skills. It's about biology, psychology, and working with your child instead of against them. Listen, if you're feeling overwhelmed right now, take a breath. You don't have to implement all of these strategies at once. Pick one thing that resonated with you and start there. If this video helped you see picky eating through a new lens, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps other frustrated parents find this information. And if you haven't subscribed to Parenthood Unlocked yet, click that subscribe button right now because we post new evidence-based parenting strategies every single week. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these 7 reasons explained your child's picky eating. I read every comment and I'll respond to as many as I can. And remember, you're not alone in this. Picky eating is one of the most common challenges parents face. The fact that you're here watching this video tells me you're a thoughtful, caring parent who's doing their best. That's what matters. If you want more help with feeding challenges, check out my video on how to end mealtime battles without giving in right here. And this video on the one mistake every parent makes at dinner is also going to help you a lot. Thanks for unlocking parenthood with me today. I'll see you in the next video.